You've been getting ready for this day for months. A backpack with his favorite Hot Wheels emblazoned all across its surface is locked and loaded. A brand new lunchbox is over on the kitchen counter, stuffed to the absolute gills with every variety of snack he could possibly imagine. If you're like us, you've been reading him stories before sleep these past few nights that try to call ahead to what he'll be facing in this next chapter out in the wide, wide world. And then suddenly, you're at the door. He's holding up a sign for the camera, grinning an extra goofy, ear-to-ear grin, standing as tall as you've ever seen him stand in your life. In fact, has his head always shot up so far past the counter over there? You can't be 100% positive, but there is no way that he grew this much overnight, right? Maybe it's the shoes. Yeah, it's the shoes. You take in a few more breaths, you blink a few times, and the next thing you know, you're crossing the threshold with his hand in yours. And it's all over in about 4 seconds after that. He walks on ahead and doesn't look back. And you sort of half turn and pendulum back and forth, gradually backing away, realizing something that catches in your throat. His hand isn't in yours any longer. And he's fine. You'd been building this moment up, possibly the biggest morning of your whole year, right? And he's fine. As you reach the door, you take one last look, almost wishing that he'd signal to you that this was all a giant mistake and please get him out of here ASAP. But he's fine. I've been thinking about that morning nearly nonstop these past few days. And I think it's about something much larger than a boy's first day at school. In fact, I think it's changing how I look at basically everything. So my wife and I are walking back to our car after abandoning our child to the whims of an educational construct outside of our own making. I'm wondering if we are absolutely positive we've fully vetted this place, as we're marveling together about how quickly all this took place. I'm also sort of half listening for shouts of terror from the classroom window above as we make our way to the car. I look down and I happen to notice what's a gravel parking lot below us, and there are dozens of little footprints of all shapes and sizes having disturbed the otherwise orderly surface. I can't point to why I'm so relieved as I discover my boy's feet in the sea below, but I remember thinking that that might have been the first full exhale I'd taken that entire morning. So we're in the car now, just my wife and I, and the school is disappearing over that hill in the rearview mirror, alongside what remains of our composure. As we're rounding the turn at the first stoplight without our son in the back seat, I have a pointed memory surface about my own mother and one particular school drop-off where she was going on vacation without my sister and I, and we wouldn't see her after that morning for a full week. Now, she'd done her best to prepare us for this moment, but I remember how broken up she was to part with us all the same. And I also remember how scared I was to be walking into school that day without a foundation. What would I do if I got into trouble and I couldn't run to her arms and imagine everything fixed in an instant? At this point, I have entire libraries of memories like that have this added dimension as a parent that make it seem like I've lived many lives in the same moment. Some as a child striving to expand and conquer, and others as a mom trying to protect and comfort. We eventually get back to our place, and as I head downstairs to begin my day, I'm confronted by the absolute silence of the house around me. There have been more mornings than I can count where I've viewed the start of my day as a sort of refuge from the chaos of parenthood. The noise mutes as I close the door. The whining about whatever dessert we couldn't have for breakfast lowers a few decibels, and I have this oasis in the desert of an office where I can finally focus on some vitally important problem that's been alerting me in 3 different ways on 3 different monitors. It's funny, though, how desert-like the office seems during this particular morning. And so I sit down in that silence I always feel I need to get to as quickly as possible. I'm trying to figure out which red alert badge deserves the little attention I have to give the most, and it suddenly occurs to me what I'm actually feeling. It isn't that I lost him today, he's only a mile down the road. I'm fairly confident he's living his best life, really, making Play-Doh or something. No, it's not that I've lost him. It's that I've just witnessed myself become a memory. For what feels like the entirety of my journey up to this point, my frame of reference is one of the adventurer. I'm the one opening the door, pressing on the gas pedal, turning in the final project, walking the girl to her parents' doorstep, taking a bow at the end of the performance. But today, I watched my son take a step towards the life he'll lead increasingly without me. These 4 years I've been gifted with as his father have been the most astonishing of my life in so many dimensions. And I'm certain there have been little steps in his independence that have bowled me over, to be sure. But I'd never witnessed the crossing of a threshold like that in real time. This morning, he let go of my hand, and I lived 2 lives at the exact same moment. One of excruciating endings, and another of wondrous beginnings. Now I'm the one standing in the gravel parking lot retracing the steps my son took towards his destiny. I'm my mother watching her son navigate his way through what she knows can be a complicated and sometimes cruel world. I am all mothers reluctantly relinquishing their iron grip on the greatest gift of their lives. And suddenly my laptop chimes. 10 minutes until the first in a sequence of meetings in today's social gauntlet. And I reflexively clear my throat and position myself to be as presentable as I can be given the circumstances. But as I attempt to clear my mind and digest the notes for the upcoming call, something won't quit tapping me on my shoulder about this morning. And it's a realization that I'm compelled to leave for you today. There seems a growing distance between my son and I in space and time. Leading up to and just after his birth, he was like an extension of me. In those very primordial days, there was no me, really, that wasn't a father and husband and support structure in service of this brand new life we'd been tasked with ushering into existence. As the days, weeks, months, and now years have progressed, I have borne witness to any number of miraculous milestones in my son's progression. I remember viscerally the first few times we stuck a spoon in his mouth, how terrified I was that he should have no clue what in the world was going on and how on earth we could help him in the event he couldn't figure out how to chew or fully swallow. And yet, he did. And a few years after that, I'm watching him pick up his first tortilla chip from the appetizer plate at the Mexican restaurant we frequent, scoop up a big pile of tomato salsa and stick it in his mouth all by himself, as if he'd done so his whole life. These days, I wish he'd chew and swallow more than fried cheese nuggets, but we can get into that on another day, I guess. What I've seen in all this is that we as humans, we all cross thresholds in our lives, mostly without realizing it. A thing happens, and everything after occurs almost in reference to that happening. Think about your first kiss, a broken bone, parenthood. All crossings that we may consider fundamentally transformative events in our lives. Wouldn't you agree? What I think that is essentially that we've visited a cosmic ophthalmologist of sorts, and on the other side of these crossings, we've received a new pair of prescription lenses through which all of our memories and experiences up to that point may be filtered through. The story that we tell ourselves about the things that happened in our lives has the greatest influence on our well-being in any given present moment. And if we follow that recognition all the way to its inevitable center point, we might look at everything we perceive as a story. And because we have the power to write and rewrite and essentially change any story we tell ourselves, we might begin to see everything, memory, emotion, space, time itself even, as illusory in essence. what are we meant to do then with that realization? Well, let me tell you about the morning of my son's second ever day of school. I start awake suddenly and peer over at the time on my phone with one eye that scratches like sandpaper as I try to pry it open. I'm disappointed in myself as I read 4:47 and recognize that I won't be getting back to sleep. I know my mind enough at this point to realize that it's shouted at me to get up and prepare for the change in routine this morning has presented. There was a plumber I had scheduled to do some routine maintenance on our hot water heater some weeks ago, and the window of time I pick is 8 to 10 a.m. on this day, right on top of the morning routine we'll be going through to get my son over to school. I'm gonna have to stay back to be sure someone's available for that work to be done. So I'm downstairs making coffee in the dark and absolutely kicking myself for failing to recognize the significance of this day when I was checking my calendar and booking that appointment. Truthfully, I'm still reeling from the first day's experience, and I'm desperate to soak in every opportunity I can get with my son before he's away from me once more. Time crawls along until 7 a.m. when I hear the happy little cadence of my son's alarm, quickly followed by a happy little cadence of stomping feet. His door bursts open and he's looking at me smiling as he takes the stairs to meet me with his fire truck tucked under his arm. He looks up at me and he says, "Is it a school day today?" I say, "Yeah, buddy, you get to go to school this morning." He sits down, fire truck flash, and runs around the kitchen island shouting, "I'm so excited to see Miss Catherine." I'm positively delighted to hear this, and the next thing I know, I'm chasing him around and we're playing tag as I set up his breakfast, not recognizing how suddenly I've left all of my regret and dread behind me. Next thing I know, he's buckled in the back seat, waving goodbye as I'm standing at the garage door waving back and taking it all in. As my wife backs out of the driveway with our boy, you might imagine how I'm rolling over in my mind the fact that I won't be there to walk him into the classroom today. I won't be holding his hand as he crosses that threshold. Just like that, I'm seemingly farther away than I was the day before. The separation that I had been grieving already a little wider in the space of only 24 hours. But, that wasn't what I was thinking at all. I was thinking about his beautiful face, about the joy and anticipation that was there for the day ahead, about the light in his eyes as he's waving at me, calling out, "See you later!" That same light he'll carry as he steps out into the playground or into a game of telephone with one of his classmates or any of the other adventures that are in front of him on this day. I can hear his laughter as he chases his friends around the playground. I can feel the wind brushing past his cheeks as he takes another round on that slide. And funnily enough, I don't feel any separation at all on this day.